which, is the main reason why the whole argument about women being able to vet what these men can and will do is impossible. Because a lot of them, when they are in love, right? When they are in love, or when they think they are in love, they'll tell you, they'll give you the sun and the moon and the stars, and they'll give you the world. Right? That's what they'll say. Right? And, and even try to make it seem like that would be their heart's desire, to please you that way, in every way that they can. Right? And they don't tell the woman when they don't want to do that anymore. Right? Because this is the point. The point is not that, okay, things don't happen. Because things do happen. But the point is, when the shit hit the fan, what's fair and what's equitable, after the separation. A long time ago, the men were like, hey, just give her the house, of course, even if he gave her the house and that, relieved him of any type of child support, she still had to make some kind of money to pay the taxes and shit on the house. Right? And that's where a lot of them, fall short if they live in an environment where they're not able to make money. And a lot of women, they do live in an environment where they can't make adequate money. They can make some money, they can make money here and there, but they can't make money on a consistent basis. Thank God for, these people that are able to make money on the internet. Yes, there was Etsy, there was Reddit, there was Pinterest, and they were making money through those avenues, but those avenues wasn't as widely known as the internet, namely like eBay, Facebook Marketplace, and now, having your, another stream of income, utilizing these many platforms that will pay you and will also allow you to be a sponsored representative to their products. A paid sponsored representative is available too to their products. Okay. Now, yes. So she had went to Kenya with her husband. Her husband, he's definitely a stoic type of person, and I don't think he'll want to live in Kenya, right? And I think a lot of the disrespect that had already happened to them, where they were calling her husband Dee's side chick. That's what they were calling him, and that was totally disrespectful, because they are married. They are not just dating. But the disrespect was definitely there. Now, nobody came up to Dee when they was in Poland and said, derogatory shit like that to Dee's face. Like, she's the indentured, bed slave. No, They didn't say no shit like that to her in Poland. So this is me going back to what I had advised, initially, that what they should do if they are going to live somewhere in Africa, they should probably go to South Africa. That's where, him as a white man, has a little bit of protection, right? And D, of course, she'll still be a black a black woman, living within the black continent. Also, I don't think it's unusual. It could be, but I don't think it's unusual for, say, some of the white men to marry or be with a black woman in South Africa. Right? And this was one of the weird things that, I was tripping off of when Rosia, she didn't recognize that some of those so-called indentured servants, those women that was coming to the house to cook and clean, that those were women that, her man was probably servicing in return, giving them money and letting them work in his house. And then that's why he had these women. He had a lot of women on rotation, in and out like revolving doors. And he talked about being a Muslim, but he was raised in a primarily Christian home, but even his stepfather, who claims to be a pastor or administrator or a caretaker of this church that they have right next to their one of his homes, he also has multiple wives. And it appears, for the longest that he was just a hard-working man, and that, he was always working. And sometimes, he had to go places and do things, but the places that he had to go and do, was with, his other, mates. And then they tried to justify it by saying, well, Marwa wasn't his child. So why should it be unusual that, her father would have other families? So, yeah, it's playing out over in Africa, too, that, this, extended family situation is problematic. Throwing a disease or a plague out there to kill off, those estranged family members, I don't think that that's an acceptable way in the spiritual sense, because number one, I just don't believe that that's the way that, Mother, Father, God had intended it to be. I'm not talking for Mother, Father, God. I'm just saying I don't feel that that's the way that they would want it to be. And the fact that man is doing it that way is diabolical. Right? And of course, you know me. I'm like, we definitely need some walk-ins on these assholes out here. We definitely need some walk-ins because we can't be having, the lion killing off the cubs over and over and over again. We just cannot have it. Right? And I think she had said somewhere, who was that? I was listening to one lady, and they said that they actually would eat the unwanted children. Right? So that is an overt form of cannibalism on some of these. I would have to say it's got to be some kind of remote island. I just have to believe that. And then people don't know that that's, they were told that that was going on. They just don't know that that's going on. And when it does happen, they don't know when it is happened in order to stop it from happening. And on and on and on and on and on. Oh, the wind feels good. But it's strong. It's a strong wind. So yeah. Somebody stole the Cadillac M&M off of that sedan. Well, yeah, I was watching Dee Moingo, and they were buying some slices of watermelon at the market. And I guess that's what made me want some watermelon, because they were eating that watermelon, making me wish I had me a watermelon. So now I got me a watermelon. Yeah. And now I have me a watermelon. It's still 84 degrees out here, but the wind is making it comfortable. And the wind is cold. I can feel it. It's cold. It's a cold wind. And it feels good. So this week, I'm definitely going to have to put it on the calendar to find out how am I supposed to utilize this Medicaid or Medicare. Not sure which one it's called. I have to get that straight. That I'm paying for $202 a month, right? And maybe I can give me some peptides. Maybe. Hold on. Oh, and another thing that I wanted to talk about was, you know how from the main water line that there's ooh, we got thunderbolts now. You hear that? From the main water line to your house is not covered by the city. The actual resident has to pay for that plumbing. That as soon as these ratchet men out here found out, right? Because what that means to them is that's another way of getting like private contracts for plumbing and repairing, right? Because if it belonged to the city, then it would have to be like a government contract. But the fact that they can now mess with people's plumbing, because all of us have, you know, plumbing exhaust, you know, pipes, you know, that have to bring air and access, you know, from, you know, as part of the plumbing system. I'll show you. I can show you better than I could just explain it to you. But what had happened was, you know, then, you know, they started, you know, figuring out ways that, you know, they could cause plumbing issues that they can get paid for. But let me show you. Where is it? Okay, I kind of blocked mine with a slab, but you have certain pipes that are more directly connected to the plumbing situation, right?